Hello and welcome everybody to a very special episode. So this I have been waiting for quite a while. So you can see here, this is a package that just arrived by Les Indemodables. And without further ado, let's have a look what we can find inside. So there's a little bit of a present that they've included, and then there's a package. And what we have here is the Edition Limitée Vanille Havane Cuir des Abysses, so the leather of the abyss. You can see it's lucky number 7 that I got. The sides of the package, nice Les Indemodables pattern. This is the bottom. There's a batch code. And then there's some more reading material here, probably about the scent. Let's have a quick look. So there's a big booklet, Les Indemodables, the Grand Cru ingredients, and a card. Just I think, yeah, a thank you card saying thank you for purchasing. And yeah, this talks about all of the different scents. This is a new one, same one that was included in the Discovery set, but updated. And then this is a bit about the different ingredients. Lovely illustrations. All right, let's leave that where it's at. And let's get into this little present that they included. Let's see if what's the best way to open this. Yeah, so the Cuir des Abysses. What is the story with that? So they took Vanille Havane, which is probably their best seller, and they added a leather extract. But they didn't just add any leather extract. What they did add was real extracted leather. So that's actually what is included in this little packaging. What they did was they took leather that is tanned in the style of Russian leather. And by that they mean that's where the name comes from, Cuir des Abysses. There was a ship that sunk in the 1800s or 1700s, somewhere around that time, and it was carrying leather that was tanned in the Russian leather style. That ship was then found years later, fairly recently, and the leather was brought above ground. Then there were some tanneries that took that leather, analyzed the ingredients that were used to tan that leather, and they recreated the tanning process. Les Indemodables found this tannery, and they essentially got some leather from that tannery, ground it up into small little pieces, and then did their ultrasonic extraction method on that leather. And then they asked Antoine Lie, well, what can we do with this? And according to Rémi and Valérie Poiveret, Antoine Lie decided that it would fit with the Vanille Havane DNA. So this is now the second or third flanker of Vanille Havane, depending on if you consider the X-Ray Absolu a flanker. And I'm struggling a little bit with the sleeve, it's very tight. And I don't want to rip it. So yeah, please bear with me. But I will keep talking. And Antoine Lie then decided to add this leather extract in a concentration of 8% within the perfume oil into the Vanille Havane formula. And in the course of that, he had to slightly rebalance the formula as well. So he had to add some Styrex, he had to shift some of the synthetics that were used in Vanille Havane's formula in the base. And this is where we arrive. So this is how the presentation is, kind of folds up. You get the different stories about the leather extraction, about the Russian leather itself, and the history of Russian leather, and also the resurrection of the tanning. And on this little pedestal, you get the bottle of Vanille Havane Cuir des Abysses. Here you go. There's the number. Shiny cap, sticker at the bottom of the Atelier Français des Matières. So it doesn't say Boutique de la Butée. There's the sprayer. Cap actually is just plastic. It's very light. They engraved the number of the bottle on it. And without further ado, I will give this a spray on blotter and then also directly on skin. Okay, first on blotter, and then I will spray some on my skin. 2 sprays. And yeah, I've been wearing the regular Vanille Havane recently just to refresh my memory. And I'm very curious to see how this compares. Okay. Okay, it is very, very leathery, much more leathery than Vanille Havane. Oof. Have to let it evaporate a little bit. It's also boozy. It still has the typical Vanille Havane booziness. The cocoa is immediately there. And there's this very much smoky, leathery feel going on. Slightly, just a touch animalic, but just very, very slightly. So here you can go see the sheen that it creates on the skin. It's very interesting because it is both immediately recognizably Vanille Havane. I will go and spray my Vanille Havane sample actually on my other hand. So here we go, the regular Vanille Havane on my right hand. So I can have a direct comparison because I think some of you are curious how these two compare, what the differences are. Yeah, so it is darker, I would say, than Vanille Havane. Definitely leather facets. So actually, in the immediate opening, I was thinking, wow, this is very much Vanille Havane. But now, just about 2 minutes in, it diverges slightly. So I get more of that rough leather. It's dry. It's oily. It's like oil-soaked leather. Dark oil-soaked leather. Birchy, balsamic, woody. Slightly, like I said, slightly dirty, but not very much. So this is not a hugely animalic scent. It has a slightly, yeah, just a slight animalic facet, just a hint of it. Going to the regular Vanille Havane, which is here on my right hand. Yeah, this is much, in comparison, direct comparison, is much brighter. It has much more of that rum facet, much more of that tobacco facet to my nose. I get a slight, interesting, I get a slight hint of caramelized bananas in the opening of the regular Vanille Havane that I do not get in the Cuir des Abysses. Let's put that one back in the middle. Yes, it's very, very leathery, and I was hoping for that. I was actually hoping that it would be strong in the leather. And yeah, so Anton Lee said that he added some Styrex. I have some Styrex here. Styrex gives you, in itself, a slightly sweet, balsamic, leathery smell, and it's really rather nice material. I think I would say I can detect some. And I also actually want to dip a blotter into this leather extract so I can smell it in isolation. Here we go. Just about fits. Let me actually put some on skin too. Why not? Okay. So now I can smell the leather in isolation and see how much of it I can recognize within the scent. So. Oh, this leather extract's very bitter and very woody. Surprisingly light on blotter. On skin it is a little bit more substantial. But it's not that, it's actually quite woody. It's dry. A little bit of sweetness, in fact, in this leather extract. So you can see how it colored the blotter, very slightly brown. But I would say this really needed the support of the other elements of Vanille Havane to come out strongly as a leather perfume, because in itself it's not a very strong scent. It's very interesting. it really smells more like wood chips, soaked wood chips, with a subtle, like I said, like that vanillic, that oak barrel sweetness, because they also said that in the tanning process they use oak chips. And birch tar, but lightly. It's actually lightly smoky. The Vanille Havane Cuir des Abyss is a lot more smoky than the leather extract in itself. But the way that Anton Lee created this really comes together really, really well. And I can tell that a lot of the Styrex and other resins that are used within Vanille Havane, as well as the vanilla extract, really bolster that leather extract. But the leather extract smells unique. It has a slightly varnishy feel as well, like a little bit like varnish for wooden furniture. Okay, let's go back to comparing the Cuir des Abyss to the regular Vanille Havane. So now about 6-7 minutes in, it's still much darker, much more balsamic and smokier than Vanille Havane, but the leather note is slightly lifting now. I'm getting more of the woody facets of the leather. It doesn't feel quite as oily anymore. But there's a roughness to it. I like it. It's very much dark leather. A little bit like the Rien style of dark leather that Anton Lee did for État Libre. And it's a lot less sweet than Vanille Havane. For sure, Vanille Havane has more sweetness. And it just, in comparison, it feels like 2 shades brighter. This is interesting. I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room. So, Vanille Havane is a scent that was released years ago, and the price for Vanille Havane for a 50 milliliter is 220 euros. And they actually did release a 100 milliliter bottle for Vanille Havane at the price of 320 euros. And they also have the Absolute, the Extra Absolute, which is twice the concentration of Vanille Havane. It comes in a rollerball, 10 milliliter bottle, I believe. There was a 12.5 at some point. That is 98 euros. This Cuir des Abyss, which comes with the 5 ml of the leather extract, which is interesting. I might try to use it for some perfumes myself. But this package with just this cardboard packaging, right? It's all cardboard. It's very environmentally friendly. With this very standard Les Indemodables bottle, this plastic cap, it costs 420 euros. Okay, so for the price of this, you could buy 100 milliliter of Vanille Havane and the Extra Absolute, and you would still be under the price of this bottle. That's just something to think about when you are considering something like that. And even this I just got is 100 milliliter of Ombre Russe by Parfum d'Empire. This at retail I think is 180 euros, and you can find it a little bit lower. But yeah, you can see 100 ml of this is less than half the price of this. So it's just something to consider when you are looking at these. And this is the second flanker limited edition 500 bottles after Coeur de Oud, which came out last year. And that included some fractionated oud extracts, very interesting story as well. So you cannot fault them for the stories, but it's just incredibly pricey. And I smell it, and I compare it to Vanille Havane, and I'm happy to report they are significantly different. You can tell that this is a flanker, right? But there's a significant enough difference in the sense that I could definitely see preferring one or the other, right? So some people, they might just prefer Vanille Havane because it's a little bit more straightforward. That doesn't mean Vanille Havane isn't complex, but it is a lot more, you get the cocoa, you get this very powdery cocoa. You get the vanille, which is a very nice vanilla extract out of real vanilla beans, right? It's beautifully deep. It has boozy facets. It has spicy facets. It has leathery facets in itself with the vanilla. It's not overly sweet. And then I would say Vanille Havane also feels like there's a slight ambery touch in there as well. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of like a lab denim feel in the original Vanille Havane as well. There's like this cinnamony spice, very resinous, also balsamic. Might be some balsams included in the original Vanille Havane as well. It's slightly coniferous, slightly like tree resins. It's a beautiful scent, Vanille Havane. And Cuir des Abyss, to get back to the focus of this video, takes that idea, but it adds a huge veil of darkness. It's just going back and forth. It's significantly darker of a scent. It still has this French sensibility with it, but when you think about Vanille Havane as maybe like golden brown, then Cuir des Abyss is almost black. It's almost pitch black. It's like light brown facets, but it's much darker. It's like a deep dark brown. It smells even drier in comparison. It's definitely less sweet. It's definitely more smoky. It's definitely more balsamic. And it's very leathery. Actually, I'm surprised the leather is still pushing. It's still going on, the leather. And I'm gonna smell the pure leather extract again. Yeah, this pure leather extract in itself is super interesting. It smells very natural, but it smells more woody than leathery to my nose. It's very curious. So this is how it looks on a blotter. I will have to... Yeah, on skin, this leather extract is quite light. But it's more leathery on skin than on blotter. So that's maybe where it comes alive. This maybe might need to go on skin, might need a little bit of warmth to warm up the resins and balsams within this leather extract. Because the tanning process, obviously, the main two constituents are going to be birch tar and oak chips, which contain natural tannins and are used. But there's probably also a lot of other molecules that will be extracted when you do the ultrasonic extraction process on the ground up leather. Now, I will say, I think I prefer Cuir des Abyss over Vanille Havane, just in the sense that it's darker and leathery. And I was kind of hoping, this is Lone Star Memories by Tower. This is a really beautiful leather scent. This is a little bit more, it's more bright, it's more dynamic. I would say it's a high dynamic range scent, because for now, Cuir des Abyss is in a sense, it just really leans into the darkness, that leathery darkness. Now, I do really enjoy it. I do really enjoy this Cuir des Abyss on first impression. But there's always this nagging questions. Do I enjoy it more, 200 euros more than the regular the regular Vanille Havane? Do I enjoy it more than, like, if I were to buy Vanille Havane and Lone Star Memories, and then I get a pure leather creation that stands on its own, and I get Vanille Havane that also stands on its own, because Vanille Havane is a brilliant scent. Okay, let me think about who this scent is for. So this scent is for anybody that loves Les Indemodables, loves their philosophy of sourcing materials, of carefully producing scents and sustainably producing scents, that love Antoine Lee, that, for example, love the Rien by État de Libranche, but also like Vanille Havane. And they want sort of Vanille Havane, but with a deep, dark, leathery, balsamic, oily, basically cover on top of it. that's, I think, the person that would enjoy Cuir des Abyss, and they would have to be willing to pay the extremely high price, because materially, I would say, just the formula itself, I cannot imagine that it's that much more expensive than Vanille Havane. Like, of course, I'd be happy to be corrected. If Remy or Valerie want to correct me, feel free. But the price is almost twice, and I do not think that the cost of the formula is going to be twice, right? So you're paying a lot for this research that they did into this leather, the sourcing, right, of this leather, that they had to get in contact with that tannery, they had to convince them to sell them leather, the labor, right, the labor that went into grinding up the leather and extracting it, and then also the extra work that Antoine had to do to rebalance Vanille Havane. But I think, relatively speaking to creating the original Vanille Havane, that probably, is not that huge of a deal. And then, there's other scents that are produced by Atelier Français des Matières. For example, these iris scents, they cost 320 euros. That's still very expensive, but they include iris essence. So you get essentially an equivalent of this with those. And it's 100 euros less. And they are a third party, so they have to pay something to Les Indemodables. And they use, I would say, a nicer magnetic cap, a nicer sprayer. So it's hard. It's hard to say, right? You get a scent that is beautiful, that has one of the best leather notes that I've smelled, and that uses a novel material, and that has the base of Vanille Havane, which is one of the best vanilla scents of all time. You get all of that, which is beautiful, beautiful. But then you get the price tag, and then you think about what else you could be buying with that price tag. And then you think about, well, could they have not used the leather extract to make something completely new? Could they not have used that extract, maybe even also used the vanilla, and then done a new take and not called it Vanille Havane, but gave it a new name? Or, on the other hand, could they not have taken Vanille Havane and used already existing materials to create a leather accord, and then sold that for less than 420 euros? Both considerations. I would say what they really liked is the story. I think they fell in love with this idea of extracting leather. Apparently, Hermes tried something like that before. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure somebody else has tried before and maybe failed. So I applaud them for really wanting to take leather as a material and doing something new with it, right? This is, to my knowledge, the first perfume that uses real leather extract, especially in such a dose. But when I smell the leather extract, actually it's gotten a little bit more leathery now that it's dried down. I'm just wondering, could you not have recreated that differently? Of course, in that sense, maybe it would have lost a lot of the romance. It wouldn't have been as romantically, with the story. They had this real Russian leather that was unearthed or brought up from under the sea and analyzed, and the small tannery recreates it in small batches, and they had to take the leather, had to go through all the labor and get this extract and make this. This is a beautiful story, right? It really evokes something. And whatever Anton Lee did creates a beautiful scent, which is actually still different than Vanille Havane, still darker, still keeps a leather note going, and it might be one of the best leather perfumes I've ever smelled. I've smelled Chanel Cuir, which is lighter. It's more Chanel elegant. But this is also very elegant. So this is dark and dry and balsamic and smoky, but in an elegant way. Yeah, you can see I'm torn, because I like this. I like this a lot. I like Lone Star Memories as well. And do I like this more than Lone Star Memories? Now that's a tough question, because Lone Star Memories is so special. They're different, right? Lone Star Memories is way more, it really pushes that dirty leather in the opening, and then quickly dries down into something smoky, and then you get more of the ambery base. So it's a similar idea, but it smells very, very different. And this is 130 euros. So this is even less than the regular Vanille Havane. And yeah, it's tough, right? It's really tough. I will have to wear this more often. I will have to dive into the nuances of Vanille Havane Cuir des Abyss. I would have to dive into the nuances of the leather extract. And really get to know the material and what it does different than other leather scents, leather materials, to come to a proper conclusion. But I will leave you with this for now. This is a beautifully interpreted mix of Vanille Havane with dark, oily, smoky, very slightly dirty Russian leather. And it does that. It accomplishes that. I think it's successful in what it sets out. And then you have the caveat of the price and the limited edition. And that's something you have to decide for yourself. I would have loved if they offered samples for this, or if they offered a smaller bottle at a smaller price, maybe the 10 ml. But as it stands, it's still available. You could still purchase it. Maybe somebody will do decants of this. I would not recommend you blind purchase this. I kind of jumped into it. Maybe it was a bad decision. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. I'm still having to figure that out, but I did. And I think I can provide maybe this sort of information to you at least. And hopefully it helps you think about how you feel about this project, how you feel about Vanille Havane and their flankers and the price. And yeah, please let me know in the comments what you think. Please let me know, do you think that Vanille Havane Cuir des Abyss is worth 420 euros? Do you think this is a worthwhile project? Do you think that, do you like the idea of having multiple Vanille Havane flankers where they introduce a new material? Or would you like to see something else done? And yeah, I would really like to know your input. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a discussion going on. And also, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Let me know what I could be doing better. I'm always open to suggestions. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and we will see each other in the next video. Bye bye.